In Dragon Ball Daima, Goku and the gang are turned into children because King Goma wants to make sure that they're out of the way so he can take over the world or do his thing. I don't know. He's weird. We don't know what he really wants. In the midst of all of this, once Goku is turned into a child, he realizes that his fighting style is gonna have to be a little bit different because he's shorter. He can't reach as far. He can't fly right. He's having to adjust what he's doing. Pretty much everything he's having to adjust except for eating. Today on Geek Devotions, we're talking about how the basics stay the same, but how you do things can change. Hello and welcome to Geek Devotions, the show from devoted geeks who are devoted to letting people know that they are loved. I'm Celeste and we are so glad that you have hit play today. Do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the share button, but most importantly, if you don't watch past this point, hey, you're loved, you're cared for. There is a plan and a purpose for your life. Okay, let's get into the devotion. Like we said in the intro, Goku and the gang are having to readjust to their new bodies. And Goku is getting out his power pole because he realizes that he kind of needs the reach. And that helped him out. The basics of his fighting and his personality is the same, but he's having to change up some of his methodology. We see in scriptures something similar to this. In 1 Corinthians, it says this: "To the weak I became weak, to win the weak. I have become all things to all people, so that by all possible means I might save someone. I do all this for the sake of the gospel, that I may share in its blessings." Now, Paul is talking to the Corinthians about this, and he's saying that he has to change how he shares the gospel. It doesn't change the gospel, and because that version says it a little oddly, it's not that Paul is saving them, but he is adjusting his approach based on who he's talking to enable them to be able to truly hear and understand the gospel. He's the same person. He has the same personality, but the technique is different. He takes into account the culture, his surroundings, who he's talking to determine what is appropriate. We as Christians in modern day need to do this. We have to be mindful of the culture, of what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. We have to understand that not everybody thinks like us. A great example of this is when I was in Bible college, I had a friend who was going to be a missionary to Japan, and we were eating some Japanese food, and I went to set my chopsticks down to grab my drink, and I just stuck them in my rice. And she goes, no, you can't do that. I go, why? I don't want to set them to the side because they have food all over them. And she goes, no, you don't understand. That is how the false religions in Japan offer food to the ancestors and to their gods. And if you do that and then start eating again, it's very offensive. Now, had I gone to Japan and done that, it would have offended so many people. But because she was planning to go to Japan, she had learned these things and knew what to do and what not to do. And sometimes it's as simple as going, you don't understand what I'm saying because we're from a different place. We have different terminology. We grew up in different atmospheres. Sometimes it's a legitimate cross-cultural issue. But the fact of the matter is that no matter who you are or where you come from or where you grew up, the gospel remains the same. And so we can take different means to share the gospel without changing the gospel. But at the same time, changing those factors makes it easier for people to receive what God has for them. Okay, guys, that was your devotion for the week. We want to give a big shout out to our patrons who made this possible. We have been watching this on Netflix, and because of what our patrons give, we are able to have a streaming service to watch Dragon Ball Daima. And we are super thankful for that. For as little as $1 a month, you can help us do what we do as well as we do it. Now, if you don't have the funds for that, we get it. Money is tight all around. But you can do things like share this video, watch it all the way through, comment, interact, rewatch it. All the things to help with the algorithm, but the most important thing that you can do that does not cost you a dime is pray for us. Pray that we reach the people who need to be reached, and that the people who need to know that they're loved come and find this video. Okay guys, it's now time for the question of the week. Question of the week is this: what would you do if you were suddenly turned into a child again? I don't know. I would probably just like hide. Honestly, I would do what I did when I was a kid and hide behind a book, because this was my MO. Like, I would just stay home and read all day. Don't know what I'd do about my bills, but that's what I do. Okay, guys. So until next time, stay devoted, peace and love.